In a broken wasteland, come to my fire.
What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson. I am your host. With me today is one of the cool ones because, you know, Will at Season of Mist, he always gives me some really cool people to talk to. And this is no exception. This is Igor Sydorenko. He's shaking his head. Yes, cool. I got it. I got it as close as I possibly could for being a redneck from Indiana. Dude, Igor, how are you?
Hey. Nice meeting you, Mark. Doing fine. Thanks for nailing the surname.
Hell yeah. And you are part of the band Stoned Jesus.
Yep. I'm pretty much the band, I would say, because it started like a solo project, and then we had a number of drummers and bassists through the years. So yeah, like I'm the Dave Mustaine of Stone Jesus.
Oh, come on now! I wouldn't go that far. You're not a dickhead, are you? I mean, you're at least smiling right now. I don't think I've ever seen Dave smile. I mean, seriously. No, all jokes aside, dude, thank you for coming to the Metal Forge. This is awesome. Now, tell everybody in Metal Forge land where because you're from the Ukraine.
Right.
I'm not. Are you currently there now? Because I know over the weekend we were going to do this. You all were en route to a festival performance, but so what's going on? How are you still living there? Or just out traveling?
Yeah, all three of us, all three members of Stone Jesus are Ukrainians, but right now we're currently residing in Europe, and obviously we're still following the news in Ukraine, and we talk to people from Ukraine. And actually, the thing that we started doing last year is that we put a donation jar on our merch table, so at every show you can go and throw some money into the jar, and all that money goes to people in Ukraine, people who suffered the consequences of Russian invasion, people who lost their houses, pets, relatives, people who are on the front line and need some help right now. This is something that we started. It goes from people to people. This is how we made it. This is how we continuing to do it. And we very, very thankful to our fans for helping us out with that, because for the last year and a half, we raised more than 18,000 euros, which is like 20-something thousand dollars.
Yeah.
Which is not bad, I think. And
holy shit, man. No, that's amazing. That's not bad. Hell, that's amazing, dude. Kudos.
Stone Jesus fans are the best.
Dude, like, seriously, that is an awesome idea. And honestly, I support as well. One of my merch makers is in the Ukraine, UKR Patcher. He does a lot of band patches and stuff. He's done Metal Forge patches and both patches for both of my bands, actually. And, you know, for a time there, it was scary. We lost contact for like a year because things were just so fucking crazy.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not getting any better. And yeah, they actually might get a bit crazier for the rest of the world and for the rest of Europe as well. Like, I
dude, I'm in America. Dude, I'm in America. I know exactly what you're talking about because it's even fucking crazy here right now, and just so much stuff has went on in the last. I don't know. I just want to say the last decade has just been. What in the hell is wrong with people? When did people learn to stop? When did we stop learning how to people?
This is actually quite an interesting topic because a lot of people like ask us on social media, why won't you write another chill, blissful, psychedelic, shimmery, glimmery record like Seven Thunders Roar? Dude, maybe because the times are not like that at all, and everything that's going on in my head, I just cannot put myself into this like space where I would just sit back, relax, and write another on the mountain. Not that I want to. I don't want to do that because, well, it's already done, and
Sure.
I mean, I love the song and everything, but I would never want to repeat myself as a songwriter. So
For
yeah,
sure.
the same goes for Songs to Sound, the new album. It's pretty, it's pretty intense. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't think a lot when you're not an artist, I think it's hard to grasp what an artist actually does and how they create their art. And the reason I say that is, why don't you write this, another version of this? Well, it's like, for one, you could have been dating somebody different at that time. You could have had a different day job at that time.
Absolutely.
You could, anything could have happened that spawned that specific event that
True.
might not be the same anymore. Again, like social media, how everything has changed that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
before we get too in depth, let's go ahead. Let's talk about Stone Jesus. You said you were pretty much the driving force of the band. I understand how that goes, because me being in a 3-piece thrash band, I definitely know how it is. I've went through multiple guitar players. I've went through a couple of different drummers. None of them have spinal tapped anything. Nobody spontaneously combusted on stage, which is good. So give me the rundown of Stone Jesus. Like, what's give me the bullet points. Give everybody in Metal Forge Land something about you.
Yeah, sure. It basically started as a solo project of mine because my father used to be in the bands in Soviet time, and like they would play the patriotic Soviet bullshit songs in the like first part of their evening, and then the KGB official that would be present at every show would leave, and they would play covers of like I don't know, Rainbow and Deep Purple and Nazareth and the Beatles and Pink Floyd and whatnot. So he was very much.
Wait a second. Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
No, like seriously, like that was a thing. Like they would play their own music, and then when the fucking the police, Gestapo, whoever the fuck you want to call them, would leave, then they would start doing the covers of like Rainbow and stuff.
Yeah. Because like if you do that with the officials present and they would caught you, you might go to jail.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. This is pretty much how the life in Soviet Union was. So me these days seeing a lot of like leftists in the West who never experienced that and who like worship Stalin like some anime idol or something. I'm like, dude, no, it wasn't fun at all. It was basically the same thing that was happening like in Germany in the 40s.
Sure.
I don't know if we're supposed to name it because otherwise we got YouTube blocked or whatever. But you know what I mean. It was the same shit, but just different color. So yeah, the life was like that.
That's fucked, dude.
Yeah.
And that's and as you just said, there's so many leftists in the West that celebrated that stuff. And there's so many people there's a lot of people here that are like, hey, that might not be a bad idea either. And it's like, no, dude, that's like, no, like, why would you think that? It's like, we're all people, we should all be able to fucking express ourselves as we see fit.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that it all became this sort of like battle of fandoms of sorts. Because it used to be like an actual thing that was, responsible for millions and millions of deaths around the world. But right now, people just fighting on social media, not really realizing that, this is kind of serious. And like in my country, people been thrown to jail for like,
just for singing Dio.
Speaking against the regime and stuff like that. So fortunately, the Soviet Union collapsed, but unfortunately, my dad's band collapsed as well because I was born. And my mom said to my dad, "You gotta find a real job now." So he put everything into me. Like, so he taught me how to play guitar, showed me like the basic chords and stuff. So I started writing songs when I was like 12 or whatever. And starting Stone Jesus was actually my way of saying thanks to him, because it was music mostly inspired by the likes of Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath through the prism of more modern bands that I discovered around that time, like 16, 17 years ago, stuff like Sleep and Electric Wizard. And I was like, okay, so actually there are current bands who play this kind of stuff, and I want to start doing this myself. So like the early Stone Jesus stuff is very much tribute. It's like an homage. It's I love these songs, but I like sometimes I don't relate to them anymore, and I don't really consider them to be like the serious era of Stone Jesus. So basically, it was the same for the lineup that was back then. I just grabbed like friends that I knew from like a music forum, and I would be like, okay, you'd be the drummer, you'd be the bass player. And this is basically how the first Stone Jesus album came to life. But starting from Seventh Others Roar, it became a bit more serious. This is our second album, 2012. And then Harvest and Pilgrims and Fatherlight. And yeah, sometimes we would change a drummer. And then when I found the opportunity to leave the country and start anew with new people, these new people were not that new also. Like the drummer that we currently have, Yurii, I've known him since before Stone Jesus. Like I knew him from my previous project. So yeah, familiar faces and really nice atmosphere and really cool professional guys. We've played more than 70 shows, starting since last spring. Yep, toured through all Europe, and I think by the time when this interview comes out, we will be already back from Australia. But right now, we're preparing to go to Australia. This is going to be our first Australian tour ever.
That's awesome. A lot to unpack there. I should have been taking notes, but anyway. First off, it's nice to hear, I guess, that you said your father's life kind of crashed down too around the same time the Soviet Union did, because you were born, and and he had to find a real job. She said, hey, it's time to find a real job. Well, that's not so much different here.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very universal.
Kids are being born, time to find a real job. Which is sad in its own regard that, you can't make a living just as like a touring musician. It seems like in the 60s, you hear of all these bands like the Stones, the Beatles, Sam Gopel's Dream, Hawkwind, early Black Sabbath, Earth, Jethro Tull, all these bands, they did circuit tours. Where they would play, this week in Stoke-on-Trent or this day in Stoke-on-Trent, and they'll do like a matinee show. They do like a 4 o'clock and an 8 o'clock and like an 11 o'clock show. They would do like 2 or 3 shows a day. But then tomorrow they would be at the next borough over, like Squatney or whatever, where Spinal Tap's from. But like, it's interesting how times have changed like that, where the quote touring musicians back in the 60s were regional touring Europe, or even as small time as England, going to the different cities there. And now it's like there is no quote circuit or anything, and it's like pretty much all you do is it's like unless you're working with a reputable booking agent, you're really just throwing stuff at the wall to see if it goes through.
Kind of, yeah. And also like with booking agent, it's great, but there is also some sort of planning ahead going on. And with planning ahead, that means that in the same territory, you cannot play for like 2 years or something. Like if you already played, like we played Berlin a year ago, which means the soonest time we can return to Berlin would be like next spring or next summer, stuff like that, because you shouldn't oversaturate the area and stuff like that. And fortunately, Stone Jesus are like are wanted around the globe. So we're gonna go to Australia, we're gonna go to South America in late October, and there are plans for other territories for the next year as well. But again, like with all the costs and all the logistics, I mean, yeah, like some people I get that some people, especially like the coworkers, like the coworker metal friends, they like kind of stuck in the 80s in their head, and they thinking like touring is like all just getting bitches, snorting like all the prohibited substances, drinking booze and shit like that. And
Nobody does
like,
that. They
nobody
have
does that.
they
Like,
don't
even,
they just
even in
have
the
bologna
80s,
and cheese sandwiches.
yeah, exactly. Like even in the 80s, these guys like were mostly like exception from the rule, because in the 80s you would have bands like Husker Du who would just like jump in the van and just drive around trying to find some bar to play in, or like a Nirvana, they would sleep in the freaking van and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that stayed the same. So yeah, when people hear that, oh, you're going to Australia, you're going to South America, they probably think of like Rock in Rio level of stadiums and shit. But this is very DIY. This is
Oh
very
no,
underground.
no, and that's what it is. And that's how it is, because I like to think so are you familiar with who Randy Newman is?
Mhm.
Okay. So Randy Newman has a song called I'm Dead, but I Don't Know It.
Okay.
And what the song is about aged musicians who are in their 50s and 60s and 70s and have done farewell tours back in like 1985, but are still out playing today.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, it's a riff on bands like the Eagles, bands like Kiss,
Scorpions.
uh,
Yeah.
Scorpions. Well, I mean, are they? But are there at least with Scorpions and like Accept and Maiden and bands like that? They're still writing new music.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah.
At least Blue Oyster Cult still writes new music too. This isn't just. I'm thinking more like somebody that just like goes out and just coasts on the hits. Kind of like what I don't know, like I guess like Def Leppard might do, or Motley Crue does,
Oh
or
yeah. Oh yeah.
bands like the hair bands seem to do that quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Poison, all those bands. But anyway, so the song is about musicians who constantly, they're on their 14th reunion tour, or their retirement tour or whatever, and I think that transcribes to them meaning like, it's very DIY. And the reason why it has to be DIY for myself and you and countless other bands out there is because their cannibalistic nature of keeping a ceiling on bands to come up. Because there's bands out there that with the right promotion and the right people putting money into it, there could be bands that are a band as big as Metallica or Led Zeppelin or the Beatles. There are talented people out there. I think the thing is like, just with like any kind of corporation, they're like Hollywood constantly remakes the same movies.
Oh yeah.
Because they know people will rewatch them and rebuy them. So
with these type of bands, like I think my favorite example is like I really love their music, and it's kinda a bit sad that they have to rely on gimmick so much. I'm talking about Ghost. Like Ghost,
sure.
like I'm a huge fan. Like so many great melodies, like a lot of progressive leanings, like hooks galore on every album. It's like basically Blue Oyster Cult meeting Abba, meeting Sabbath, meeting whatever, meeting Journey, and like it's really great take on classic rock. But again, they have to implement some gimmick to get noticed, for people to be like interested in them, for people to follow them. And it's kind of sad because like I mean I get it, it's fun, and he's like building the whole legacy and the whole like
Well,
who were around like the Papa figure and stuff like that, and probably live. This goes like crazy. I actually saw them live twice on Hellfest, but I think the first time I saw them it was like 2011, and nobody knew who they were. They were playing like in midday in like the smallest tent possible. I watched like for like 10 minutes of that. And then in 2015, 16, we were playing Hellfest ourselves, and we were too tired to go and check them out. We just stood out on the stage for like 10 minutes and we're like, I guess that's it. And we just left. But like musically, the guy's super talented. And I mean, yeah, if this is what it takes in the 21st century to get people interested in a good rock band, then probably he's doing everything right.
Sure. Well, with Tobias Forge, that's such an interesting thing that you bring them up. And it's interesting because, like, I watch professional wrestling, okay, like WWE and stuff, and like, I'll say this. So, like, when Roman Reigns came up and they tried to do the thing with him, like John Cena, where they just smashed him over, they gave him everything, and people turned on him like crazy, like fuck that guy, we don't want him, you know. And Ghost, I think, is the same way, because when Ghost started way back in the day, like 2009, 10, 11, whatever it was, when they still had BC in their name.
Yeah.
Okay. Ton of fucking metalheads were all about them in that era. And then Tobias Forge got outed as the creator, the soul dude doing everything, and it was, and then it's like they fucking turned on him.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've seen them live. I saw them with Iron Maiden actually on the Book of Souls tour.
Nice.
And honestly, like, it's a great show. It really is. The stage theatrics are great. The backdrops, the crowd reaction, just the way he talks to the crowd is great. I mean, so to have a completely sold out stadium tour, or arena tour, actually, sorry, an arena tour, that's, I mean, he's got to be doing something fucking right, I would think.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's just like who was the other band that Sleep Token.
Okay, yeah.
Completely sold out arena tour in America. And it's just like, well, I mean, I know it's what the algorithm's pushing, I guess, is what people want to say now, but no. So it's interesting that you said a second ago about you played like Berlin last summer. So the earliest you could possibly look at going would be the spring, early summer of next year, which is funny because, yes, I totally get that you shouldn't oversaturate or anything else. But me being in the States, it's a little bit like like the mileage from, like, say, London to Berlin would probably literally be like from me to New York, which is like an 8-hour drive, like, you know, 600, 700, 800 miles ish. But like, you know, but there's like 3 of those drives in the States. So to get from one side to the other. And so yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing when you say, it's like, yeah, I shouldn't go back there for this, because the area is a little bit more concentrated.
Yeah,
versus, you know, like, versus like touring in a bigger place like the United States or Australia.
Yeah, we haven't done touring in the US yet, but we were touring with the American band Mothership 7 years ago. And yeah, we like talked with some other guys in the bands, like on some festivals and stuff. And yeah, everybody's saying that it's like it's the whole different world. Like within one country, you can have several zones, like where stuff is more popular. You have like more hipster Portland area. You have more like classic metal, hair metal, thrash metal, Bay Area, LA, California kind of style. You have like more punk Chicago. You have more traditional metal oriented New York or Boston area. So yeah, it really depends. And obviously, we had also like some recommendations where we shouldn't go because like there are nobody there. People just don't go to shows at all unless it's like some sort of a fair where they have.
Tell me one of the places. Come on, tell me one of the places.
It's usually Midwest. They would say like don't go to Midwest. Like there's just some state fair and multi crew playing there and nothing else. So it's like
so get this. Where I live, I call it the ninth circle of hell. Because there's a couple of reasons now. And anybody who's watched the Metal Forge before knows where I'm going to go with this. The ninth circle of hell is Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. Because within 2 hours, we have Cincinnati, which is a bigger city, Indianapolis, which is a bigger city, Evansville, which is about the same size as Louisville. 3 hours to the south, we have Nashville, which is huge. 6 hours north, we have Detroit. 5 hours north, we have Cleveland. 5 hours northwest, we have Chicago. And 4 hours west is St. Louis. So when the tours, nobody comes to, and I can't say nobody comes because this past weekend, by the time we're recording this, was a festival called Louder Than Life.
Oh yeah, I heard about this one. It's a huge one, I guess.
Yeah, it's a 4-day fest. They do so in Louisville, Kentucky, each year they do 2 4-day festivals a week apart from each other. Now the first week is it's Thursday through Sunday. It's called Bourbon and Beyond. It's gonna be like your Journey, Styx, Billy Strings, bands like that, Heart, Def Leppard. It's gonna be those bands. More on the hair metal side of things. More on the hard rock side of things, and crossover with some country music.
Okay.
And then the next weekend, or the next Thursday through Sunday, is Louder Than Life, and it's all the metal shows. And Thursday, like the Thursday this past Thursday, was like it was headlined by Slayer. There were Exodus was on the show. There was a ton of, I'm not going to look it up, but there was a ton of fucking thrash bands on Thursday. I'm not even sure who headlined it this year. I think I know Machine Head played one day. Just so many. I
saw the poster. I'm pretty sure there was Sleep Token. There were Deftones, because Deftones are everywhere now. And there were even Dream Theater, and Dream Theater had their own like little stage this day with like power metal bands and like stuff like from Europe. So yeah, pretty cute.
Have you ever like Powerwolf played? Have you ever seen the Deftones?
No, I would love to. I never was a huge fan, but I actually discovered them around their prog era, like Diamond Dice, Koinonia Count. So I'm not a fan of like early, like really super simple but effective, but not for me style like Adrenaline. I'm more like into later era stuff. And yeah, I checked the recent set lists, and yeah, this is totally up my alley. So like the second they announced in the European tour, maybe they already did that, to check it out. Actually, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I would love to check them out in Europe. Yeah.
So the first time I saw them, it's crazy fucking tour, and it was just like I wasn't familiar with them, and a friend of mine got me into them, and it was the show was February of 1999.
Okay.
And it was the Deftones opening for Pantera, opening for Black Sabbath.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
that was the first time I saw them. And then I saw them again 4 months later at Ozfest. Again, opening for Black Sabbath.
I gotta give props to Sharon. Like I read her book, her autobiography, and she didn't have a like nice and comfortable life. She's been through a lot, and she always had a great ear for like new upcoming metal bands. Like I'm pretty sure she's sitting somewhere, being pretty disappointed that it wasn't her who discovered Sleep Token. But like
Oh, yeah.
otherwise, like the whole new metal, it was her like putting chord, putting
Hang on, that
just
you
on
know
some
of.
like all these Ozzy tours and stuff like that. Putting Metallica on Ozzy Osbourne tour back in '86. She's so great
Ozzy.
with this. Like it's insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think Sharon's so easy to hate.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, just because of the way people saw her on the Osbournes, she's so easy to hate because she for the metalhead, I'm sure she was the villain character in a lot of the stuff. It's like Ozzy's just trying to be Ozzy and
yeah,
whatnot. But yes, I will say, aside from like some of the stuff that they had done in the Ozzy camp to people like Bob Daisley and
yeah, yeah. I heard about that.
not paying royalties to people and stuff like that. um I think that that's another easily hateable thing for her. But when it does come to the discovery of bands, if you look at a lot of those early Ozfests like 96, 97,
Yeah,
98, 99, 2000, there are a lot of bands that came out of those eras. Slipknot, Kitty, uh you know Deftones really got elevated. Primus got elevated. Tool got super elevated.
oh yes,
Marilyn
yes. Stuff
Manson
like
got super
Filter,
elevated.
stuff like Quicksand and Helmet, which is like more underground kind of stuff, like more
Yeah.
noise rock,
Helmet.
hardcore kind of stuff. Like imagine these days, like the more popular band, I don't know, like let's say Five Finger Death Punch taking someone like I don't know Mastodon to open for them. This just won't happen because these are two like different universes. But back then they were really looking for like new talents down below.
Sure.
So it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see them discovering those young bands and taking them on board. Really cool.
No, absolutely. And that's the thing of what I was getting at a minute ago was the cannibalistic nature of those bands. They're not taking the bands like that were on the second stage, those Slipknots, those Kitties. And as much as I don't like them today, Disturbed, I can't discredit what they've done, but but those are bands that they achieved that arena status because of Sharon. And and you said she probably is probably mad at herself for not discovering Sleep Token, and I said that she didn't. I'm just saying, I anytime a band like that, that's like all masks or anything,
Yeah.
it's cool. But it's like, okay, so who's really there? Who's stepping away from their stuff, of their, who's doing the thing. I know somebody for years said that Papa from Ghost was James Hetfield.
Okay.
And I'm like, no. Oh, and speaking of the Ghost thing, the new mask sucks.
Actually, it's
the
like the one that
Skeletor.
barely covers the face, right? This one.
Yeah, it's like it's just like this. It only comes down to the upper lip. It's like it's this. It's this right here. It sucks. It sucks as a mask. Go back to the clergy face paint. Go fucking back to it because it looks better.
See, now we gatekeeping Ghost.
No, I'm just saying like for me, it because even the hair's fake on the mask. It's like he was fucking, it's like a Kane from WWE when he fucking unmasks, he pulls the hair off with it. It's like, what? No, no. Or Captain Hook at the end of the movie Hook, where he has no hair. It's a wig. It's like, come on, man. If you want to cut your hair, but don't pretend to have long hair, because then you're just an 80s fucking then you're just like Vince Neil who's wearing a fucking hairpiece, or whatever. No, I'm kidding. So we've actually like totally been on here for a minute, and it's been cool, and it's really late for you.
Yeah.
So we're actually here to talk about the new album, which is where did my page go? Songs to Sun. I'm like, come on, where'd it go? And I'm like flipping over here. So super cool album. Got it sent back to me a little bit ago. It came out officially on September 19th. 6 tracks. Holy shit. Like 3 tracks on the album in particular are more than out of 6. I would listen to me. I'm going to say 3 of the 6 are more than half of the album. Not even paying attention, because 3 is half of 6. Geez, where am I at today? No, but some of these tracks, you've got one pushing 10 minutes. Dude, that's rad. I love songs like that constantly keep a flow, and constantly revolving the idea. And so when you get into the writing of the album and stuff, so what spawned Songs to Sun? Like, what was the idea behind going into it?
Actually, it's not just one album, it's the whole trilogy of albums. Like,
Okay.
I write a lot, and I've been writing for the whole pandemic and the start of invasion thing, and like in the last 5 years, and also looking back before those 5 years, like even earlier into the stuff that I had in my songwriting drawer for years, I realized that I have a lot of material that I really, really like, and I want to release with this new lineup of Stone Jesus. And this material is perfectly divided into 3 categories. Like, there are heavier songs, more intense, more aggressive, more direct, more in your face. There are darker, doomier, and more like introspective songs. And there are ideas that can be formed into 2 20-minute long epics. Like, I'm a huge prog fan, and stuff like Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick, like just 2 songs basically that
Sure.
making up the whole 40-minute long album. This is something that I wanted to do for a while. And yeah, in my head, it all was like, just bam, you have this trilogy: Songs to Sun, the heavy, intense stuff; Songs to Moon, the darker, the quieter, the more introspective stuff; and Songs to Earth, because, have 2 hemispheres, and like there are 2 halves and 2 sides to it, and one song's gonna be more intense, the other one gonna be quieter. So like, the whole Songs to Earth album gonna be like a reflection of Songs to Sun and Songs to Moon albums. So yeah, I'm the kind of guy that, like, I'm very nerdy about stuff like that. I like spend the whole youth sitting on music forums and like reading all those music books and following like the prog fandoms and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm like, next year I'm gonna be 40, and what are you gonna do with your life if not that? You're gonna have fun. You're gonna write music and try to, please your inner autistic self as much as you can, because otherwise there is not much meaning in what we're doing.
Right. No, and that's the thing, it is all relative in the end, because we're all just, it's all what we end up doing, right? How we look at things. So with the idea of that, when you doing songs to Moon and Songs to Earth, now is it one of the things to where they overlap one another, like similar, like, are they all part of the same concept of things? I mean, can you listen to them all relative?
Actually, the idea is to listen to the trilogy when it's over, as a playlist, like when you have one album following the other. And in the middle of the trilogy, in the middle of the next album, Songs to Moon, there is actually a little overture, a little interlude that is called syzygy. And syzygy, it's like a superposition for sun, earth, and moon. So like everything is connected.
Hell yeah, dude. That's amazing. And I love the fact that how you talk about like, things like thick as a brick. And I think that's lost on a lot of music today, like more in the popular vein music, of course, like the Sleep Tokens and the Ghosts. And I think you would have more of a chance of a concept album from somebody like Ghost than you would from a Sleep Token or anything like that, maybe. But I'm not too familiar with Sleep Token.
Okay, I'm not a huge fan of the music, but I've like being the music nerd that I am, I like did a little digging and I followed like the lore a little bit. And there is actually some sort of concept going on there. And they have this like huge 8 minute long tracks, which is like for modern metal and especially for like TikTok generation of music listeners. 8 minutes is a freaking epic. It's like a lot. So
yeah, it's like watching a 2-hour movie.
Interesting things. I just wish I was more open to the kind of sound that they have. This is totally not my thing, and I don't really relate to it. But I'm really happy that a lot of people do relate to them, and they seem to be to become this sort of like gateway band for many young fans to enter the world of rock and metal and even prog. So yeah, it's like totally. I'm absolutely fine with that, and this is really really great and inspiring. And talking actually about the stuff that we talking about like half an hour ago probably, they took the younger band to open for them, and this is how I learned about this band. Sleep Token took the band called Thornhill to open for them. Like literally, they wrote them and just like, yeah, come on board, let's go with us. And I went and listened to this band because of that. And it's a fine like Deftones core type of metal, which is very popular right now, like this Deftonesian shoegazy metal sound. And again, this is pretty cool and very much in tradition of like old school cooler bands that would do such a thing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely for that. And I didn't know that they were actually a concept-based band. So now I have something to look into for that, because it might sway my opinion. Again, like you said, it may not be the music that like the auditory thing of I want to hear, but the concept could be something really cool too, because I love reading concept stuff as well. Like
same here,
I'm a huge comic fan. What is a comic? It's a concept story. It's fucking just going on, onward and upward, as they say. But no, talking like things like thick as a brick, I do think on a lot of modern metal, they are lost on people, because it's like pretty much anything that's popular, again, as you said, for their fan base, the TikTok generation, 8-minute long songs is epic, because when you're used to what originally was 15 to 60-second reels, now that a lot of those are even getting up to 10 to 15 minutes and reposts and all of that shit. Yeah, it's definitely interesting, to say the least. And to come up and to sit there and to say that, writing an album that interlocks with itself and another one and then another one is definitely a huge undertaking, which, because you mentioned thick as a brick, the rumor goes Thick as a Brick was written out of spite, because everyone thought Aqualung was a concept album, and it wasn't. And Ian apparently said, "Did you want a concept album? I will give you a concept album," and then decided to write 40 minutes of music into 2 songs.
Yeah, true.
Do you believe that Aqualung is a concept album?
I think it's not. I think they have like two or three songs that are like vaguely connected through like themes of religion or something on Aquila. I don't think it's a concept record. And I love the fact that the guy was like, okay, you want a concept album, you gotta get a concept album. It's like a very British thing to do. Like, since like discovering prog when I was like 14, I've always been a huge fan of this like particular kind of like really dry English humor that is very presented in like early Genesis and even darker stuff like King Crimson and Mountain Graph Generator. They would also have like sort of a silly song on the record. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is exactly how it happened. And even the next album after Thick as a Brick, which was The Passion Play, which is
Yeah.
also like just two songs. I think it's even like it's even like drive a nail even deeper into the joke. Like you didn't like Thick as a Brick, now I'm gonna get you some Passion Play, which is like more of the same.
Well,
It's kind of cool that people were allowed to do that. You know, like I sometimes think of Zappa and how he would never have a career these days. Like maybe in sketch comedy, yes, but in the music business, probably not. And yeah, the '70s in that regard, they were freaking awesome.
and it's so funny that you say that about Zappa. And for somebody who was a absolute genius, gone way too soon.
Oh yeah,
Way too soon. I could only imagine. We can only all imagine what he would be like today. In his
oh yeah.
in his mid 70s. Oh my gosh! Assuming he would have even lived to his mid 70s had he lived any longer than he did. That's just wow. I can only imagine. And just based on his work in the 70s and 80s, and extremely articulate. But no, I think Zappa paved the way for a lot of other musicians that did things like Weird Al.
Oh yeah, true.
The parody stuff and the more silly side of things, because there's not just parody music, there's silly music in general.
Mhm.
And whereas I think even in like bands like Nirvana,
Mhm.
you could tell, like, I think the song like Territorial Pissings off of
Oh
Never,
yeah.
I think that is one of their comedy songs. Like they're just one of their silly songs because it starts with the cow sills, you know, uh, smile on your brother thing. And then it just goes fucking nuts. And yeah, but like I think that like Zappa and even just that English dry wit of like what you're talking about, where that even bled over into some of the stuff over here from bands over here being influenced, has definitely paved the way for. So I think Frank, if he were alive today and his, say he was our age or whatever, because I'm a couple of years older than you, just if it were if he were our age, I think it would be just as fucking nuts. He might even, given the state of the world and what he was talking about in the 80s of how it turning into the state of what is going on now.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's holy shit. He would probably be more over the edge.
Yeah, he would totally kill it on a podcast scene, I think. He would be the best podcaster these days.
I'm telling you, like, so on one of my battle vests, I have a Zappa for President patch on there, and I'm totally down with it. And I think I've written him in the last few elections. But anyway, what's going on for the rest of 25?
Yeah, we play in this Australian tour, and then we play in our Latin America tour. We're coming to Chile, Brazil, and Argentina, and it's going to be our first time in Mexico. And we played in Chile, Brazil, and Argentina twice before that, in 2016 and 2017. And again, this is something that I think very strongly connected to the DIY ethics and the whole underground thing. We did it not because like the label sent us there with millions of euros falling from our pockets. We did it because there was a promoter who wanted to bring us in. We did it because we were ready to play for flights. We didn't make a lot of money from that shows, probably no money at all. And we did it because we knew there were hundreds of people who would spam our PM boxes on every social media. Please come to Brazil. Please come to Brazil. And we did. We came, and it was phenomenal. And this is something that I would. This is something that I would advise to any like beginning band. Like if you see that people somewhere want to hear you play, and you think that you can afford it financially, you should go. You should go because you will never know. Like this would be your best fan base. That would be your best show. You can make like the best friends for the rest of your life, or you can make like a future bigger chunk of your audience either, and it's gonna be very like profitable for you in the future. Who knows? So yeah, this is really great. We're gonna play those two tours mostly with our greatest hits set list because last year we did a 15th anniversary tour with like our greatest hits set list. But like touring for the new album Songs to Sound in earnest begins next year. We're gonna start with Europe, and then we're gonna go to some other territories. Fingers crossed. And yeah, we're gonna play more songs from Songs to Sound while simultaneously mixing and mastering Songs to Moon. And I think we'll be already recording Songs to Earth in like half a year from now. So yeah, we're gonna be
you are on fucking fire, dude. Like it is a lot, dude. Productive as shit, man. Hell yes. Kudos to that. Couple things. So yes, absolutely right. If you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
Because two things. You're not getting any younger.
Oh yes.
At all. And there's no time like the fucking present. You know,
True.
That's the only thing I can say. And like I said, if you're a younger person and you listen to this show or you watch this show, then absolutely swing for the fucking fences, as they say, and you know, plan that tour, get out, do it, because when you're 25 and 35 and then 45 and then 55 doing it, it gets harder. Because life happens. So if you want that life, you've got to fucking push for it.
True.
You know, and you've got to make it work. And yeah, I know quite a few successful independent musicians that, you know, that are out there today making it work. And they're doing the exact same things what you're doing. You know, you're getting spammed on your social media. Come to Brazil, come to Argentina, come to Mexico, come to, you know, Australia. And, you know, yeah, that's amazing to have happen. And one of the things I wanted to ask is, so when you did go to Brazil, I mean, did you have like, what was the farthest somebody had traveled? Did they tell you? Like, I came 6 hours to see you. What's the longest that somebody has said that they've driven to see you or came to see you perform?
You asking about Brazil specifically? Because
no, I'm just saying in general. Because when you go to another country like that or another continent, even, you know, it's like, obviously, if you're only doing a couple of shows, you've got people who are, especially in Brazil, because it's such a huge country. You know, that
I don't remember people saying something like that in Brazil in particular, but I remember we were playing one of our first European festivals. I think it was our first European festival like ever for this type of music. It was Freak Valley in 2013. And I remember there was an American guy approaching us and telling us that when he saw us on the lineup, it was like the last straw that broke the camel's back, and he decided that he's getting the ticket and he's flying to Europe to see like the whole festival, but also us in particular. and that was shocking because we just released our second album. It was our like third European tour in total. I still had my day job by back then, and yeah, it was a huge eye opener for me that something that I'm doing, something that I'm like writing and recording and performing with like, those two hacks behind my back can be really important to so many people, and they would be basically planning their life around it, and that was just mind blowing. And yeah, it's safe to say that it's gotten only bigger and better, and I'm extremely grateful to everyone who's like really thinks that like Stone Jesus music has a special place in their life. And yeah, this is something really mind blowing to me because in my mind, I'm still this like guy from like a rural town in eastern Ukraine who just strums his guitar and sometimes comes up with some like nice riff or something. So yeah, this is something that I will never take for granted.
Absolutely, dude. That's amazing. Shout out.
Thank you.
So I'm going to switch it over to Derailed. Just general questions about you as a person. We talked about what was going on beforehand. So obviously check out Songs to Sun. We're going to play some stuff here in just a few minutes about it, but we're going to get into this. What celebrity do you think is a positive role model for people today?
This is it. Like someone who was never infatuated with any celebrity ever. I would still say it's like Keanu Reeves, who's just like
Okay.
overall the nicest guy you would ever know. Like there are these social media posts that I would surface like every week on every social media, like, oh, he's donated all his Harley Davidsons to like charity, and he bought $5,000 million like homes for all the homeless people, so there are no more homeless people in America thanks to Keanu Reeves, and all this kind of stuff, like
I
all this
wish, man.
collection of facts that are so wholesome that you don't know what to believe in anymore. But at the same time, like he looks the part. Like I look at him and I see a really wholesome, fun dude who's like just living his best life and trying to
Sure.
be the best type of person for anyone around him. And I think it's pretty positive model.
Yeah, I would say Keanu is probably one of those people up there like that. Again, as you said, like the social media posts and whatnot about like the things that he's done, you don't know what to believe, whatnot, because it's social media.
Exactly.
Take it with a whole fucking salt mine, not just
Yes.
not just a grain of salt, the whole fucking thing.
True.
So like, yeah, like one of the things that I had seen about him was where he has apparently had the same apartment for like 30 years
Nice.
and has he hasn't bought some crazy fucking giant mansion out in the Hollywood Hills or none of that. He's like stayed humble. He donates most of his money to charity or something like that. Um which if true is awesome, if that's the
Yeah.
case. But some of those things I don't know. I mean, it's social media. What can you believe anymore?
True.
Because everyone has an agenda,
Oh yeah.
especially the government. Um, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
This is also interesting. Like I never had this. Like I was never thinking like, oh, I'll be an astronaut and stuff like that. I was just always surrounded by music. Like my sister, she's 10 years older than me, and she would listen to everything, anything that was popular, like in the 90s when I was growing up. So I would hear Backstreet Boys one day, and then like Eurodance rap the next day. Then on the third day, she would bump some Nirvana, and that was actually very life-changing moment for me. I heard Nirvana's Unplugged from her like tape recorder, and yeah, my life was never the same after that. Like, still one of my favorite bands. Actually, just yesterday, me and our bass player, we were watching Nirvana at the Paramount. They just re-uploaded on YouTube, like the
Sure.
legendary show they did at Seattle with Paramount, and we were just blown away. We were just flicking through new videos on YouTube, and we didn't plan to just stick around and watch the whole 70-minute long show, but we did, and it was phenomenal and freaking fantastic. So I think I never actively wanted to be anybody, but at the same time, I was always connected to music, and I started writing songs when I was like 12. And I had my first band when I was 13. I was actually playing drums there and doing some
Sure.
backing vocals. So yeah, I think it was predestined in some way. So here we are.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. I mean, I kind of vaguely have a similar story. I remember hearing Injustice for All when at a super young age, and everything else, is kind of a thing. And then I started going to shows when I was about 12, started playing guitar around the same time.
Nice.
Um, and I've pretty much only ever been in original bands. honestly, I've only ever been in original bands. I've never been in a
Nice.
cover band. I've done
Nice.
cover songs, but never like cover band stuff or nothing. So,
Same
but dude,
here.
that's
Yeah.
pretty cool that, you know, you're however many miles away that, like, you know, you have a extremely similar story about it, you know,
Yeah.
and just doing the stuff.
Yeah. Music is just universal stuff.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, and I think that's about, you know, really when everybody kind of gets into it is about when they're about 12, 13 years old, it seems
Yeah.
like. And what's crazy is you have those weird prodigies. Who is it, like Neil Sean, who was playing with oh god, Santana, which was fucking say.
Ooh,
He was
okay.
playing with Santana when he was like 14 years old at
Nice.
Woodstock. Yeah, it's like crazy shit. Like, and he had only been playing a few years at that point and was just such a fucking amazing fucking prodigy. Yeah. Blu-ray or DVD?
Ooh, it's really hard to think for me about this because, like, I would mostly stream movies. Like before
Okay.
that, I would like illegally download them because Ukraine. But right now, I would stream them, and I never actually thought of owning a movie on like anything. I think I had a couple of DVDs and even VHS tapes back in the day, like 15 years ago or something. But these days, yeah, I would love to just watch a good movie, no matter the format, you know, because these days, like everybody's brains are fried with short form content. So, like, just to sit down and watch a good movie for 90 or 100 minutes is already a miracle. Actually, I just watched one this evening. It was In the Mouth of Madness by John
Okay.
Carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it like the first time maybe 10 years ago or 12, so I barely remembered it. And I just rewatched it tonight and it was freaking great.
So so a little bit of a personal question here. As I said, this is derailed. So this is all about personal question
Sure.
stuff. So when you watch movies, do you watch with subtitles? Do you watch with alternate dubbing for your? I assume English is not your first language.
Of course, yeah. It's not.
Of course. So
Yeah, yeah.
do you watch with the redubbed audio in your language?
I would watch this like with my mom because her English is not that good. So like if we watching something foreign, of course it's like redubbed. And sometimes I would hear like the original like speech in English. I would be like, oh, they redubbed it wrong, and I had to pause the movie and retell her like, no, 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 this is not what he said. He said a completely different thing or something like that.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, I'm usually watching like in English with subs. Especially like if it's like British English, I do need subs because sometimes, like especially if it's Cockney or if it's Scottish, it can be very complicated. But like yeah,
Oh,
American movies
absolutely.
sometimes without subs.
You know, that's so funny that you say that because you know, you mentioned dialect, and in British English it matters like that because the way they speak, the way they
Oh yeah,
deliver phonetically is so different than
yeah,
something uh but then, you know, is just like here in America, you know, when you get like you hear me speak and I'm like Midwest dialect, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
somewhat Southern, is what it is. And like, but then when you get up to like Boston and when they pronounce R, the letter R, it's ah.
It's
It's
Boston. It's Boston area.
in Boston. Yeah. It's like I'm getting in the car, you know, it's like CA instead of
Actually,
CAR.
like they never taught us this in school. Like in school, we would get some sort of like crown English, some sort of traditional English, and like all this kind of stuff with like regional accents and regional culture and stuff that would be like happening in Australia or New Zealand even. I would like get most of the stuff from like sketch comedies, like from SNL and things like that. So like thanks a lot, America, for educating me.
Sure. Like, and that's funny though, that like, and me being a musician, I think, my introduction to something like German is because of Rammstein.
Yeah,
Because I was lucky enough to encounter them on like their first North American tour when they were on tour with Korn.
it's like family values,
It
like
was the family. It was
orgy,
the
Limp Bizkit.
Yes. Orgy, Limp
Jesus.
Bizkit, Korn, Rammstein, Ice Cube, Incubus. They were all on different dates. Like, so the date I went to, Ice Cube didn't play.
Okay.
So they had Incubus in their place. So it was Incubus, Orgy, Rammstein, Limp Bizkit, and then Korn. And dude, like, such a crazy event. That was in 1998.
Oh yeah.
Which is funny because here I actually have the first ever big band concert I ever went to. I still have
What's that?
from that era. And it's
Okay. Social distortion. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I still have that from when I bought it in 1997. 1997. So yeah, it's what it is. It's memorabilia at this point.
Yeah.
And I know it's late, so I'm just gonna get you a couple more here. Late night, it's craving time. What do you go to?
You mean in terms of
Like late night craving, like late night food.
Okay, yeah, like I'm currently trying to lose some weight. So
So we're gonna put this on the list, and we're gonna say we're not gonna do this, Igor. We're not gonna do this. You're not gonna have this tonight because it's late night for you right now.
Yeah, like it's like basically almost midnight right now, and for like these times, I would usually have like some low-fat yogurt flying around, like because if you want just to get something, this is like the easily the thing that like tricks your brain in the easiest way. Like it's like this guy thinks that you just consumed something and he would go to sleep, he would be fine with that. But yeah, like you gave him almost nothing, but he would be fine with it. Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's cool though. You say low fat yogurt. Again, another strikingly weird similarity here. You had the way you got into music is pretty similar to how I got into it, around the same age group and everything. Mine is I might have milk, like a glass of milk before, like especially like if it's around midnight before I go to bed or something. Yeah, just like what the hell.
Yeah.
Dude, I have one more question, but before we get to it, as always, links, they're listed below. So give likes, shares, follows, go do all the things and all the stuff. Go buy merch, go see them on tour. They're getting ready to, by the time this drops, they probably already come back from Australia, but they're going to South America. We've heard all of that right now. So if you saw them in Australia, good for you. Keep kicking ass. If you're going to see them in South America, awesome as shit. Keep kicking ass. Dude, do you have any shout outs or anything else you'd like to promote today?
No, I think we had a really great conversation, which is how it went. It like felt more like a usual talk.
I refer to this as a conversation-based interview.
Yeah. It's like it's more fun than just regular interview. No shade to any other interviewer, but yeah, it was really fun. Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, dude. Any dude, like I said before, Will is a sweetheart. I love everybody he sent me. He knows he is such a good tastemaker for like, hey, dude, I think you might like this. And dude, tap the fuck out. Yes, he's right 99.98% of the
Yeah,
time. There's
he's
that
great.
0.02% that that he's that he might throw me something. I'm like, maybe not, but I'll give it a listen. But no, like no, he's awesome. So yeah, definitely shout outs to Will and everybody at Seasons of Mist. Season of
That's
Mist.
true. That's true.
I don't
Yeah.
want to get that wrong. Mental health is a thing that we all, I think, struggle with because in this day and age, there's so much stuff going on. There's, there's the political unrest. There's just the 24-hour news cycle of stuff. And I think anxiety ramps crazy high, usually so. And in musicians, it is, I think because we are so like, connected in a degree like from like as an artist standpoint that when it comes to anxiety, how do you say I've got to calm down, I have to get this under control, that not everything's literally on fire? How do you do that?
Yeah, it's actually quite a quite an important topic and like a burning issue with like the tempo of life and everything that is happening around us. And yeah, it gets tough rather often. And there are several ways to deal with it. Like, I'm a very reasonable person. Like, I'm a very boring guy in that regard, actually. And sometimes I just like talking out loud to myself, just reasoning with myself. Like, dude, can you change it right now? No. Then just stop being nervous about it. Just stop stressing out. It's not going to change anything. Just chill. And if this won't help, I would do something just to trick my brain into like that it would be more of a comfort zone around me. Like I would spray some lemon flavor aroma around because this is the scent that calms me down. I would listen to some comfort music that would always comfort me and brings me back to some like really balanced state of mind. And this is usually some ambient, some like ambient pop, like David Sylvian or like Eden Baker, stuff like that, that is very chill and calm. And this usually helps, at least temporarily. So, like again, if anyone needs recommendations, I would say just try to get comfortable on a physical level, and getting comfortable on a physical level, like trying to calm your body, helps to calm your mind as well.
Absolutely. No, totally rad. Yeah. Some of that stuff I do as well, putting on something that's a calming sound, something that
Yeah.
calms you down is such a rad thing. Vital Signs from Rush.
Oh, nice, nice. This is a really cool song. Yeah.
Dude, so like that is my like that
Awesome.
that
Awesome.
song. I could listen to it and I could be in just a shit mood, and it completely, it completely takes the edge off of everything
This
because
is so great, man.
it's synergy that it has. And dude, so yeah, I totally get you with like listening to the ambient music, because in that song where it is, it's still a song, it does have an ambient feel to it,
Oh yeah. Like the
just like with the
loopy,
way.
the loopy
Yeah,
thing with the bass.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Um, you got to elevate from the norm.
True.
Rel-
True.
Dude, I totally get that. And honestly, um, check on your friends. really, because everybody needs something. Everybody's for everybody, and check on your friends because that's what fucking matters too. And people should be checking on you as well.
True that.
Dude, Igor, thank you so fucking much. This has been rad as hell. This has been one of my favorite interviews that I've done recently. And I say that like I every interview that I do is such a good interview for me, it feels like, because the Metal Forge is kind of like my therapy session to a degree.
Oh.
and this is the first time I'm admitting this on screen. Okay. So like real talk, like the Metal Forge is, people ask why I do it. And it's because I love pretty much every musician that I have on the show. There's a few that like after the fact have been like, dude, why did you have to be a dick? Now I can't be your friend. There's been a few of those, but like, no, like people are gonna people. And like, I love art so fucking much from like everybody, from where, you're from Ukraine originally, you're currently residing in Europe. It's super late for you. And it's like almost 7 p.m. for me, and like finding people like you, people like Tony Dolan from Venom Inc., or, Jason Gardner for you. The Metal Forge fans know who he is. He's the somewhat co-host of the show. He shows up for quite a few interviews. He does some other stuff, but dude, like everybody's cool, and everybody deserves a platform to speak and to voice their opinions and, just be awesome. And that's what this has been, is awesome. And I appreciate you all for coming through and doing this. I'm glad, you all got to do your festival appearance this weekend, this past weekend by the time we're recording this. So hell yes, dude. So on our way out today, you've got a couple of music videos, don't you?
Yeah.
From Songs to Sun. What do you want to play? What video do you want to leave people with?
Let's go with the video for the song Low, which is like, it's gonna fit perfectly to our wholesome vibe that we had through this conversation. And thanks a lot for having me, Mark. It was like really great and like really cool. Thanks for having me, dude. And Low, which is pretty much the most intense and the heaviest song that Stone Jesus ever written. It's also like accompanied by this video where you would see us recording the album in question and just having fun, goofing around, and having the best time of our life and the best experience working in the studio ever, which is not a small feat because all of us have really experienced and been to hundreds of other like studios and recording gigs and stuff like that. But that was honestly the best time I had working in the studio with these two guys. And this is what you're going to see in the video. And this is pretty much the most fitting ending to this evening that we had here.
I was seriously hoping you were going to say that because like when the video came out, I've watched it like 30 times.
Now you know.
Hell yes. Low. Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com, and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing. Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing, or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases, or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza Donisi. Pizza Donisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, the sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken, fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Hey metalheads, you all hear me talk about Mag Bar all the time. It is the home to the Metal Forge live showcases and is an integral stop in the ultimate underground metal tour schedule. They obviously feature live music, but the Mag Bar also has daily specials like Pint and Slice Night on Tuesdays with Pizza Donisi. But they also do Bring Your Own Vinyl on Thursdays with DJ Kent Jackson, and Finer Things Sundays. Located right next to Pizza Donisi at 1398 South 2nd Street, open 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. 7 days a week. Get your asses out to the Mag Bar. Rock out. For 45 years in keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They're open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out. In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shade-Beast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shade-Beast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shade Beast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soul Grinder Zine! An independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code MetalForge10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby.
In a broken wasteland, come to my fire and place your blood and steel upon my